This story begins with Jake, the winner of a rather twisted game. Although the host promised to let him go, he announces one final round. Jake must choose a box and pull a rope. Jake hesitates, but the host pressures him, saying he can only leave if he pulls the correct rope. Jake complies and the box reveals a shotgun. The host informs him that this is his prize courtesy of the factory. As Jake pleads for his life, the host thanks him for playing, and the gun's mechanism activates. Later, a group of friends arrives at a luxurious summer house. Melissa mentions that James's uncle committed suicide there, but James clarifies he wasn't that rich. His wife ruined his investments. As James and Matthew carry the bags, Melissa jokes with Matthew about equality, telling him he isn't one of her rescue dogs. Later, they start playing Truth or Dare. Anita passes, but Melissa chooses Dare. James dares her to kiss Anita. Melissa refuses, accusing him of trying to objectify her, but James insists, reminding them it's his house, and they've done it at parties before. The girls agree and kiss. Immediately, James tries to kiss Melissa, saying it's his turn. She rejects him and he backtracks, claiming he was joking. Anita warns him that his comments will get him canceled one day. James boasts about being uncancelable, just as they hear a noise outside. Matthew suggests it's a bear, but Melissa jokes that men are more dangerous. Anita wants to call the police, but James scoffs and goes out to investigate, proclaiming himself the hero. While he's outside, the others play a prank on him by turning off the timer lights. Melissa also goes out and scares him. James gets annoyed, but just then, he finds a video camera. James brings the camera inside, but Anita insists it's creepy and they shouldn't watch it. James scoffs, joking about swingers, and asks Melissa if she wants to see it. The tension rises when James calls Anita boring. She explodes, telling him that not everyone has a privileged life to joke about. James insults her and demands they watch the tape, hoping it's homemade porn. Anita confronts him, clarifying that no one there is his friend. They are only with him for his parents' money. Furious, James repeatedly yells at her to get out of his house. The fight intensifies when James makes a cruel comment about Anita's sick mother, saying she'll die soon. Matthew reprimands him, but James plays the victim. Later, Anita confirms to Matthew that James is right. Her mother probably will die. Devastated, she explains that she worked hard for the surgery, but it didn't work. She apologizes for not being able to pretend everything is okay. Matthew comforts her, assuring her she's the best person he knows. While James is showering, Melissa enters, joking about being a bad girl, but she just mocks him and leaves, leaving him frustrated. Shortly after, Matthew finds Anita unconscious. He runs to find Melissa and finds her in the same state. He desperately yells to James that the girls won't wake up. Just then, a stranger appears behind him. Matthew barely manages to scream to James that someone is in the house before he is attacked. The four friends wake up, chained in what looks like a television set. The stranger, now the host, welcomes them, introducing them as new contestants, using very strange nicknames. Terrified, Anita asks how he knows their names, but he ignores her as James demands to be released. The host announces the first round: rock, paper, scissors, shoot, assuring them there's always a winner. Suddenly, he forgets his script and announces a commercial break. While the host goes to a back room, the group panics. Matthew confirms the man attacked him with a needle. James insists it's a reality show, pointing to the cameras. But Anita replies that reality shows don't use poison needles. James, paranoid, starts accusing Matthew and then Melissa of being behind it all, but they both deny it. The host returns, apologizes for the technical difficulty, and orders them to play rock, paper, scissors simultaneously. Melissa throws paper, Matthew throws rock, and James and Anita throw scissors. The host challenges Anita. They play and he throws shoot, admitting he cheated, thereby declaring her the winner. He lets her choose between scissors or shoot. She chooses shoot. The host then applies the punishments. He gives Melissa, paper, a small cut. He hits Matthew, rock, hard, and he cuts off one of James's scissors fingers with metal shears. Finally, he delivers Anita's prize, a toy gun that shoots out a flame. Although she seems lucky, the host violently yanks her chain, slamming her against the wall until she is unconscious. Hours later, Anita wakes up. James is agitated. Matthew tries to come up with a plan, but James snaps at him that he didn't lose a finger. Matthew reminds him that Anita took a hard hit, but James doesn't care. The tension grows as James accuses Anita of being an accomplice, arguing that she was awake when the others were attacked. Anita defends herself and accuses him back. The host returns, interrupting the fight, and introduces the Wheel of Pain. Hearing the group's pleas, he offers a bonus round. 3 of them can go free if they confess the worst thing they have ever done. The condition is that if they lie, they will die. He starts with James, who refuses and insults the host. The host hits him with a cane and threatens him. Pressured, James confesses to a car accident. He admits his father took the blame to spare him a discharge. The host presses him for more. James breaks down and reveals the truth. He ran a red light, hit another driver, and abandoned her. The girl died. The host beats him until James remembers the victim's name, Ashley. Satisfied, the host moves on to Anita. Terrified, she confesses that she created an adult website to pay for her mother's surgery. Next, Matthew confesses to scamming an elderly couple, stealing their identities and causing them to lose everything, though he lost the money in a blockchain. Finally, Melissa confesses her deal with a pit bull shelter. She sold the dogs they couldn't rehome to a man who used them for fighting, justifying it by saying they would have been euthanized anyway. The host applauds but reveals that someone lied, so the bonus round is canceled. It's time for the Wheel of Pain. He decides Melissa's sin was the worst, so she goes first. She spins the wheel, and it lands on a photo viewer symbol. The host hands her a Viewmaster and explains she must identify 3 famous cities to win. Melissa correctly identifies Paris. As she moves to the next photo, a sharp needle slowly emerges from the viewfinder, aiming at her eye. She guesses the second one, New York. The third is a city she doesn't recognize. Under the pressure of a countdown, she guesses Philadelphia. The host reveals the answer was Akron, Ohio, and that she has lost. The friends beg for another chance. The host agrees and asks Melissa to look again and press the lever. As she does, the needle shoots out and pierces her eye. While she screams, the host moves on to James. Since James refuses to spin, the host does it for him, and the wheel lands on the drill. However, he decides to change the rules. He flips a coin to decide if James plays or passes. James chooses heads and wins, saving himself. The host announces that since James won, Anita must now use the drill on Matthew. The host gives Anita a drill and orders her to drill Matthew's ear within 20 seconds, threatening to kill James and Melissa if she disobeys. Amidst Matthew's pleas and Anita's desperation, she complies just before time runs out. Matthew screams in pain. The drill breaks, and the host gets annoyed because it was the only one he had. He announces the next round, an elimination game based on a survey of 100 people about what body part hurts the most. The one with the lowest score loses. Matthew says head, Melissa, feet, Anita, stomach. James boasts with muscles. The host also plays saying neck. He starts revealing the results. Head, 31, muscles, 22, and neck, 9. Anita and Melissa are left. The host says feet got 3 points and pretends stomach got 0, declaring Anita the loser. However, Matthew notices the numbers don't add up to 100. The host checks again and finds the stomach card, which had 23 points. This reveals that Melissa, with 3 points, is the real loser. As punishment, a giant hydraulic press activates, descending slowly over Melissa. The host stops the machine and announces a bonus round. He will spare Melissa if someone trades places with her. He asks Matthew, who apologizes and says he can't. He asks Anita, who crying tells him she's sorry. Finally, he asks James, who doesn't even consider it. No one volunteers. The host tells Melissa she doesn't have good friends and reactivates the press, crushing her head. The host takes the videotape and returns for Melissa's body, laughing. In his dressing room, he removes his mask and inflicts a new cut on his face, similar to Melissa's wound, revealing a face full of scars representing his previous victims. James, Matthew, and Anita are devastated. The host, now identified as Barry, returns with a television and shows them a video of another woman, Rebecca, being tortured. Barry sits in front of Anita and removes his mask completely. She recognizes him and can only whisper that she is sorry. He puts it back on as the video shows him murdering Rebecca with a chainsaw. After Barry leaves, James comments that he looked familiar. That's when Matthew reveals the truth. Anita lied in her confession. The kidnapper is Barry Miller, a famous TV host Anita used to work for. James, furious, blames her for Melissa's death and for dooming them. A flashback from years ago shows Barry Miller as the host of a game show. Anita, along with Jake, the man from the first scene, and Rebecca, the woman from the video, were part of his production team. One day they were watching news about another host, Colin Piper, being acquitted of sexual assault. Rebecca gets an idea. She tells Anita to make up that he is harassing her, and that way she could report him and get the six-figure money she needs for her mother's surgery. Just then, Barry approaches with a birthday cake for Anita. When he puts his hands on her shoulders to congratulate her, Rebecca yells at him to stop touching women, creating an awkward scene, as he wasn't touching her maliciously, just congratulating her. The flashback shows how Rebecca and Jake convince Anita to proceed and continue with the lie. She meets with a company lawyer, signs an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, and an affidavit, and receives financial compensation in exchange for her complaint and silence. Back in the present, Barry returns. James desperately tries to negotiate, blaming Anita and offering his father's money and contacts to clear his name. Barry sarcastically asks if his father can give him back his show, his wife, and his children. Immediately after, he brings in the decapitated head of the lawyer who handled Anita's case and forces her to eat the man's tongue. While Barry is distracted, James manages to break his chain and attacks him. But before he can do more, Barry activates a device that electrocutes all three, knocking them unconscious. When they wake up, James and Matthew are tied to separate tables, each with an open wound in their abdomen. Barry announces the incision decision game. There are two keys to the exit, one inside James and one inside Matthew. Anita must choose who to cut open to get the key, or they will all starve to death. James panics and offers Anita money for her mother if she chooses Matthew. Barry goads her, pointing out that Matthew has nothing to offer. Anita, remembering how James treated her at the house, takes the knife and decides on him. Ignoring his screams, she opens the wound and shoves her hand into his abdomen to search for the key, killing him in the process. Anita runs to the door with the bloody key, but it doesn't work. Barry laughs. The door has a magnetic seal. He tricked her. He announces the final game. Last one standing. He releases Matthew from the table. Matthew grabs the knife, tells Anita there can only be one winner, confesses he loves her, makes her promise to win, and takes his own life. Barry congratulates Anita on being the winner and releases sleeping gas into the room. Anita wakes up alone. She finds Barry's dressing room and steals a box cutter. She finds him in another room ready for one last game. 3 boxes. He tells her to choose the correct one, and she will be free. Anita accuses him of planning to kill her anyway. He responds that Barry is dead and that she killed him. When Anita offers to retract her statement and tell the world she lied, Barry explodes, yelling that it's too late because she took everything from him. And he threatens to kill her mother if she doesn't choose a box. Anita pulls the rope, and the box reveals a birthday cake. While Barry sings to her, she uses the box cutter she stole to slash his face and flees. She manages to get outside, but Barry electrocutes her with the collar before she can escape. He drags her back, telling her the scar saves him some work. He forces her to shove her face into the cake. She expects a knife, but there's nothing. Barry lets her go and tells her she won, that she is free. He says there is good news and bad news. The good news is she can leave. The bad news is that the cake tastes terrible. The frosting was acid. Anita's face begins to melt. She screams that she can't see and runs blindly down the hallway until she collapses and dies in agony. Barry sits next to her body, humming the theme song from his old show. The film ends by showing one last recording, where Barry tortured the host, Colin Piper, forcing him to confess on camera that he had assaulted those women and that the network had bribed them before killing him with a hammer.